Good evening. Tonight we celebrate excellence in the field of public relations. And might I take this opportunity to acknowledge the hard work and diligence of people such as yourselves in the field of public relations. And yours is an industry that my government owes an enormous debt to. For I have always been deeply committed to making unpopular decisions and making them work. It is all about communication. There are those who say that the first casualty of government is the truth. But I have, on the other hand, always believed that trust is more important. The shifting sands of truth, that is what the game is all about. The weaving of disparate threads, that is the craft of politics, the art of the believable, the art of the possible. Put simply, this great nation has never had a problem with the truth. For we have always accepted a myth and exaggeration as the core of our being. The Boer War, the bungle at Gallipoli, Vietnam, Iraq, interest rates, WMDs, children overboard, AWAs and AWB. And let it not be forgotten that our forefathers were transported for their mastery of trickery and deception. Our greatest architect, Francis Greenaway, was transported for forgery. And who can fail to be moved by our great bush balladeers, Banjo Paterson and Henry Lawson, all makers of fiction and all makers of Australia, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, what is the difference between great art, an illusion, a fake and a lie? Surely the myth of terra nullius and our denial of the treatment of our Indigenous peoples lies at the very heart of this nation. There is nobody here tonight who has not benefited from a false perception or allowed a small injustice to go by. We are known the world over for our openness and our quaint vulnerability, as some would say gullibility, and my government has nurtured and supported this. Recently, I called for a change to the way we communicate Australian history, to encourage the teaching of the great and enduring inheritance of Western civilisation. Too often Australia has been depicted as having a dark and lawless past, something of which we cannot be proud, of which we ought to be ashamed. Yet in just a few short centuries, we have taken a harsh and unforgiving land, cleared its forests and ploughed such topsoil as remains to create one of the fastest growing economies in the world. Today, we can sell anything we dig up or cut down to the Chinese and the Americans, provided that we promise to buy it back fully manufactured. I believe that ours is a history of which we should be proud, no matter what the elites, the wowsers and forensic archaeologists say. It is a history with a few black spots, and I do not resile from that for one moment. But they are now practically reconciled to my way of thinking. And ours is a wonderful story, full of the pioneering spirit, aspirations and prosperity, the Anzacs, Simpson and his donkey, and of course our unique Australian sense of fairness, which means making sure your mate never gets more than you do. It is with these values, ladies and gentlemen, that we go to the polls on the 24th of November. And might I say, if you are good enough to re-elect me on into the future, love me or loathe me, believe me, I am flexible. But I cannot conclude without a word on leadership. Just off the record, I'm often asked, what is the secret of my success? Well, secrecy for a start. No, I've never been too worried about it. I go into meetings and I nod and I smile. And I've always been secure with the doctrine that power will eventually flow to the most boring man in the room, because everybody will agree with anything he says in order to get out of that room. Have a relaxed and comfortable evening. Thank you.